Lego is celebrating 90 years of being a company, and they're releasing an anniversary set in 2022. Which one of these themes is it going to be? We're going to discuss it right here on Beyond the Brick. We have this entire fan vote happening right around here. There's going to be a bunch of different themes that Lego is considering to make a 90th anniversary set out of, and it could be one of 30 different classic Lego themes. You guys have heard about this in the community. Lots of people have lots of opinions on it, and we're gonna see what happens with this here vote here today. All right. So
are there a lot of opinions? I thought nobody really cared which theme got made.
No, people are very, very, very passionate about this. I kind of am semi passionate. I'm not like overwhelmingly passionate because a lot of these themes I don't actually I haven't built, but a lot of people that are a bit older grew up with them, and it's a valuable thing to them. So we'll go into it. So basically, how it's going to work: fans are going to vote between these 30 themes. They're going to pick 3 of these themes to recommend to Lego. They're going to whittle them down all the way until the very top 3, and that'll be a publicly shown vote, like this theme got this much or that much or whatever. And then once the final 3 are picked, you get one more vote for what that set will be. That will be a vote that is not shown publicly. So no matter what the very final thing they make a thing of, we're not going to know about until it's probably on store shelves ready to rock and roll. So this Lego Ideas post is meant to show off all the different options people have, what Lego is recommending, or rather, yeah, they're recommending it in a way. We'll get to it in a little bit, but this is everything that they're putting out on the table for you to look at right here, right now. So this, the vote ends for the first round January 25th, and the second round of voting goes from February 3rd to the 10th. So that's a short time frame to get this thing rocking and rolling. But making it swift, you know what I mean? So like of the Taylor 13, sorry, go ahead.
Like Taylor Swift?
Yes.
Okay.
Jeff, don't speak until you're called on, please.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Jeff.
I'm sorry.
Jeff, you're new here. Okay. So there are 30 themes that we can choose from to see what could potentially it be. There's trains, and I'm going to give my thoughts. We're all going to give our thoughts afterward, but we're just going to go through what is here. There is an option of trains, town, classic space, classic castle, Lion Knights, Black Falcons, Model Team, Forestman, Blacktron, Black Knights, Pirates, Imperials, Space Police, M-Tron, Wolfpack, Paradisa, Dragon Knights, Ice Planet, Aquazone, Spirius, Explorians, Time Cruisers, Divers, Adventurers, Extreme Team, Rock Raiders, Studios, Bionicle, Arctic, and Alpha Team. Those are the 30. Okay?
That is quite a list. There's a lot to unpack in that list there.
There is quite a lot to unpack, and I'm going to share with you all an image that I compiled here just to, visualize everything on one screen here. All right. So if we take a look at this, it shows all the images that Lego showed in that list, but it's just there. I didn't put the names, so we can kind of whittle down the names and whatever we can identify them, right? Because we're all smart people. So Lego is going to go with one of these 30. Now, before we get into the what's going to happen here, whatever, there are some exceptions that have not made it into the list. Can anybody tell me, specifically Joshua, what classic Lego theme is not present here?
Western?
Yes. What's the deal?
I don't know. Somebody dropped the ball massively on that one. So, I hope there's someone fired over this. That's all I can say.
John, oh, man. Oh, baby. I hope someone loses their job. Whoa. All righty. Well, I wouldn't go that far. I find it interesting And do you think it has anything to do with them not wanting to touch just like the cowboys and Native Americans thing in general? Because that is clearly a classic Lego theme, like even more classic and important than some of these other themes on here. Like,
Right,
why
there's some
would
pretty
they do it?
obscure themes here. So yeah, that's true. I that was my first thought when Western wasn't in there, right, was that there's potential controversy there and it's better to be avoided. I mean, I guess you could also say that they've done, a while back we had Lone Ranger sets and stuff, so maybe they think, oh, we've had some other sort of Western type themes, so it's not worth bringing back. But I would say the potential for controversy is probably the main reason that I could think of.
Yeah, I mean, with that logic that you had initially before that, like they already did Pirates of Barracuda Bay. They've done classic space with the Lego Movie. Like they've touched on a lot of these things, especially relatively recently. So I think it is the controversy, unfortunately, which is a shame because I like the idea of cowboys being a thing. Like Western is an iconic Lego theme, but that's beside the point. So of each of these here, between you guys, which ones immediately do you want to see happen, Joshua?
So yeah, if we go with the image full, so the three that I actually voted for already. Have you voted yet, Brian, or were you holding off?
I have not voted. I was waiting until this discussion to vote.
I thought about that, and I probably should have waited, but I didn't. So
that just goes to show I'm about the content and you're not, but that's fine.
There we go. So the three I voted for were Adventures, Forest Men. Oh, wow, look at this. Interactive.
Classic.
Oh, man. Wow, that's horrific. What a horrific circle. Oh boy.
This is why I have Kevin do my art. All right. Let's oh mama. All right. We have over here, yeah.
There we go.
Man.
This is what happens when we let Brian make the graphics.
I want to make it easier on John.
Oh my God.
My bad.
Anyway, back to the list. So Adventures, Forest Men. Where's
This?
oh, there it is. And then just above that, the Black Falcons.
Okay.
Those were the three. So it was very hard for me to decide between all the castle sub themes. So if people have watched these streams before, we've talked about castle. Everyone knows I love the historical themes and how much it'd be great to have a castle theme again. So it really took me some time to think about which ones I would like to see. But in the end, for me, it was kind of the nostalgia factor in the ones I had when I was younger. So Forest Men was something I had several sets growing up and just loved that theme. Loved the idea of like a Robin Hood type theme. I think that's really neat. And then the Black Falcons, that particular set that's in the graphic there. Little Timmy and I actually got that when we went to Legoland with our family in the very early 2000s. So I have a lot of great memories with that set, and I think that theme would be very cool. And then Adventures, one of my all-time favorite themes. So much potential with those sets to go around the world to different places and just capture really cool, unique locations. So that was kind of the thinking behind those three for me.
So I'm going to go by color-coded here just so we can see what each of us picked. So for Kirk, you're up. I have this very nice magenta here for you to help you stand out. What three did you pick or are you going to pick?
I actually did not vote for anything yet because of the same reason you said, Brian.
Yeah, we're about the content and Joshua's not, right?
Yeah, clearly. I really didn't grow up with any of these. No, honestly, no. I didn't grow up with any of these that I'm seeing here. So I guess it's going to be more so me just looking off of like what seems like it would be interesting to have as a set.
Mm-hmm.
Studio, I think that's like one I would go with. And that's because that was the thing that kind of like introduced the whole Sam Raimi Spider-Man thing. So there's that.
Right.
But the castle, or is that a castle? No, I don't think
there's 6 castles here.
Okay, no. I'm about to say which one, but I'm trying to make sure it was a castle. I don't want to anger anyone by calling it a castle, and it wasn't a castle. It's the one at the bottom corner.
This one?
Yep, that one right there. That one looks interesting. And then, yeah, I mean, no, it looks very, very good. The final one. That's the thing. I'm gonna say, I'm trying to think.
While you're thinking, just to give you a minute, we should clarify. So there's a good question from Maniac for Bricks here. Do the photos reflect what set is being reimagined each theme, or just a visual? And I believe it's just a visual, right, Brian?
Yeah, it's a visual. So as far as I know, what Lego is going to do is they're going to pick whatever theme they're going to do, and then they're going to remix or make something new, ergo Pirates of Barracuda Bay homage and level of quality and care that goes into it. But it's going to have Lego 90th anniversary branding on it and be a one-off, as far as I know.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So in that case, I'm going to go with the Ice Planet. That should look great.
Ooh, all right. Because you didn't grow up with these. It's kind of
I didn't. So it's more like I've seen the sets just over me like looking into Lego and stuff like that, but I don't own it for them.
Kirk, did you have any of these themes, like even like buying older sets on eBay or anything like that, or did you not? Have you never owned anything from pretty much any of these themes here?
Nothing from those themes. The only thing that I have that's somewhat older that kind of had like advertisements of like I think it was something pirate related. It was a poly bag called the what is it called? I think it's Track Blaster or something like that. But it was like a car. I have it somewhere in my closet. But it was a poly bag, like yellow poly bag, and a yellow car. I just can't remember the name of it.
Joshua,
Gotcha.
I'm changing your choices to red because you're beyond the brick.
Okay, I like it. That works well.
Yeah. In terms of who's up next, Jeff, I know you're passionate about what three you would choose. I know you are.
Yeah.
What are they?
So the three that I have chosen, you're actually going to be kind of shocked at this due to the fact that what T-shirt I'm wearing today and everything else. I picked Time Cruisers for one vote.
Time Cruisers right here. Yep.
I then picked Aquazone.
Ooh, okay.
And I picked the castle in the middle on the bottom row.
Ooh, all right.
Runner-up, of course, is Forestman, and basically all the castle stuff I wouldn't mind seeing, to tell you the truth.
I am shocked there's no overlap so far.
Yeah. So the thing about it is, like, everyone that is my age or thereabouts or whatever, we grew up with all of these. Like, every last one of us. I'm pushing 40, just for clarity's sake. And we grew up with all of this. Like, the Pirates, the Imperials, everything. And like revisiting that childhood is all well and good and everything and like whatever. But when it comes down to it, like, yeah, I could be that guy that's like classic space has to be the way of it. But there's a reason they don't make classic space sets anymore. There's a reason that they don't make any of these sets or any of these themes anymore, right? Whether it be licenses, whether it be nobody made the money, whatever, okay? So this is basically Lego throwing out the idea that you can revisit these themes and revisit your childhood, blah, 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 blah. Like, if this is aimed for children, then I'll be shocked because this is definitely aimed for the people that are my age or older or younger or whatever.
Yeah. To
revisit those things. And, like, I like the sets that I voted for. Like Time Cruisers was one of my favorite things when I was growing up. I had the car where you moved it and discs spun and everything else, and it was one of my favorite toys as a kid. And I don't see why people wouldn't like put their heart on a sleeve. I know that Boone wrote in Galador, which he should have. Galador didn't.
No, Boone Langston, he's all sorts of skewed. Okay, no.
Boone has a lot of good thoughts to share, but you know sometimes he's wrong as well.
No, that wasn't one of them.
That was not. That was
no.
Can we
Love
just
the
take
guy.
a minute? Jeff, I think there's probably a lot of people watching right now who maybe aren't familiar with the Time Cruisers theme. To me, this might be the #1 craziest theme Lego has ever done. If you look at those sets and just think like this is something that a professional designer like came up with. To me, that thing always looked like it was something that like a 5-year-old like threw together. And so like the idea that this was like real designers released this as an actual theme has always just blown my mind. But why don't you explain a little bit more behind that theme and kind of what that was for people who aren't familiar with it?
So Time Cruisers was the answer to a non-licensed Back to the Future back in the early 90s. I'm not joking. I wish that I was, but I'm not. So they created the Timmy, the time traveler, and then the professor whose name I don't remember. And so time travel is pretty boring unless you don't have conflict. So they came up with another like good guy, bad guy situation of the Time Twisters. And the Time Twisters were out to alter history and yada shmada. And the professor, see the Hypno Cruiser was one of my favorite sets. That was my first experience.
It's so cool looking. It's so out of the box.
Well, when you move those wheels, the propeller turns, everything turns. It was cool, man. And like the premise is that these guys are traveling through time to make basically quantum leap. For the most part, only they're not leaping into bodies. And so like they're fixing time. They're fighting the Time Twisters and everything else. And so like the hats. Did you guys ever know why they have so many hats? Like the different hats that came in every set. Like they got a Nice Planet hat, like a Robin Hood hat and stuff like that. Do you know why those came with those sets?
Why?
Because in the Lego magazine comic book, that was how they blended in the time frame that they were in. They would just put on a hat and be like, yep, I belong here. And so Time Cruisers is basically, we've got all these extra parts, right? Yeah, Ted, we do. Awesome. Jorgenstein, yeah? Get to work. Yeah, we'll do. And then basically you've got a time-traveling boat thing, a jalopy that has... So the best thing about the Hypno Cruiser is that it has a trailer that holds all the hats. So that way when you travel through time, you have your trailer with your hats, so you're okay. I don't know what they were thinking either, Joshua. I just remember loving that when I was a kid.
I don't think I've ever heard the full story behind it. So that the story, when you explain it like that, makes it better. I will say that. But still, when you look at these sets, it's crazy.
It's a train wreck, but like every good train wreck, you really can't look away. Yeah, like Brian's Twitch channel.
Oh God,
Brian, you're muted.
Can we go back to the image real quick? I'm sharing it.
Sorry, I just needed to take us down that little path to enlighten viewers.
You may notice some orange on here. Anybody want to guess what the orange is?
Timmy's picks?
No.
Oh.
It is Kevin's picks.
Oh.
Those are Kevin's picks based on 8 years firsthand Lego community observation, Bionicle, Classic Space, and Ice Planet. So he has technically the most informed opinion of any of us, and the only overlap is Ice Planet so far.
Now, I'd be interested in the Ice Planet. I get Classic Space and Bionicle. I can understand those two, but I wonder why Ice Planet, if Kevin in the chat wants to add any context to that.
Yeah, that would be very helpful. I can't say that I disagree with that logic or really any of the logic that any of you guys have brought up. I'll go over, while Kevin is hopefully articulating his thoughts, I'll go over what I would pick. And my pick is based more so off of a process of elimination based off of what Lego is doing now, what I think would be the most creative of a 90th anniversary set and would really, really hit the most, right? So let's go through. I'm going to go through a lot of these here that are not going to happen. All right. I'm going to confidently say are absolutely not going to happen. Okay. First things first. Sorry, Brickstar Trains. Absolutely not. No, not going to happen. Absolutely not. We can get that out of there. Lego releases trains all the time. All right. So no, why would they make a 90th anniversary set of a train? They come out with like 3 trains in a year. Right. Kevin right now says
it's a special train, Brian. What if it's a magical redemption hopes are alive train?
Jeff, I don't care. Anyone who understands the numbers and influence of the Bionicle fan community does not know this community. They will crush this poll, zero doubt. And I wholeheartedly agree, but I'm going to get into why I don't think the set is going to happen, but I do agree that it's going to be in the top 3 wholeheartedly. Talk says vote for Fabuland. Fabuland's not on here either, which I mean I don't think would have made it, but I think that's another one of those like cult classic Lego themes that people are really into. That would be really cool to see done newer, but is not here.
I would have voted for Fabuland because that is just such a crazy theme. If they could somehow bring that back in 2022 version of Fabuland would just be so crazy. But yeah, that's too bad it's not on there.
Well, I mean, they had a rehash of Fabuland with Cheetah.
Kinda. Izzy's in the chat says, I still say that Brian is upset because Lego Mario isn't on the list. I'm livid. I am absolutely livid.
How livid are you?
Every fiber of my being is raging because Mario isn't on this list. But going through this even more, can somebody in the chat or from you guys tell me why is Model Team here? Why?
That's a good question. To me, Model Team, it's almost like the old version of like Creator Expert or something, right? I mean, it seems like it was kind of like bigger models from back in the day when they made that. So I don't know. We get a lot of that type of stuff, I feel like, today.
So Model Team was like when you were hanging out with your older friends and they still played with Lego, but they like wanted to hide that they played with Lego.
So you mean you mean the cars that they come out with now in Lego Technic sets.
Right, exactly.
All right, so John, bring up this list again. You could. Absolutely not going to happen. 100%.
Yeah, I don't see that being a thing either. Like, we already have that. I'm
not even sure why they put that on this list. No. Yeah, because it.
Let's go through a couple other of these ones that I can tell you for a fact won't happen. We got Aqua stuff. We got Aqua stuff recently. That's not going to happen. Same thing with
Antarctic. That's not happening because City is like big on that.
Yeah. I saw someone, I think it was Ben in the chat just now, said something about wanting town, which this is a bad image for town, by the way, like a port yard. That's weird. But they would want town because it would go with the layout. But if you look at the recent Lego City sets with the base plates and everything like that, they're already articulating what a Lego town would be like using that system. So I don't think they're going to come out with another town plan like they have in previous anniversary sets to do that. So I vote this is not going to happen at all. But any objections?
I also just don't think Town is going to get the votes either. I don't think Town has a passionate enough fan base like you get with Bionicle or the castle themes, the space themes. I just don't think there's enough people interested in Town.
So we got one row down. I'm going to go out on a limb and say what's absolutely not going to happen is Paradisa. Sorry, Just Too Good. Not going to happen. Any objections?
Unless you think people are really trying to go for something unique and they're like, hey, let's try to get something different.
Well, but the thing with Paradisa, as far as I can tell, the color scheme you could get out of a friend set. And if you want the printed base plate, you're not going to get it. You're just not. So what does a Paradisa set do that a Lego friend set couldn't already do? And would that exemplify 90 years of history from Lego? I say absolutely not.
No, absolutely not.
Sorry, Justin. Unless you want to come in here and defend yourself, you're out. You're done.
No Fabuland and now Paradisa's out. What does he have left?
You know what? He's got Mario just like me, man. Not in this time. In terms of these other ones, 2 points here. So at the very end of the poll, they ask you what sub themes would you want, right? If you had to recommend a sub theme or a different thing, what would you recommend? So like for adventurers, you could say Orient Expedition, right? That is a sub theme technically kind of, right? Johnny Thunder and all that. But they have like 6 or 7 different castle themes on here. So how did that get fragmented and also space get fragmented so much? And like, I feel like that's really splitting a vote, right?
Right. I thought the same thing. Yeah. And I've seen people complaining about that. with for instance, like Bionicle, because with Bionicle you've got the one vote, and so you get all the Bionicle fans coming and vote for that. But with Space and with Medieval, with Castle, you've got like half a dozen options on each of those. They're going to be splitting all those votes up.
Right. So to me, when I'm looking at all these different castle themes, I personally don't have a horse in the race for any of them. But they're definitely, if they're going to put one into the top 3, then which one of them would it be? Now, as we saw today from the announcement, they just released or announced the Blacksmith Shop, which is what? Black Falcon, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So they are either, if they do a castle theme, it would be a Black Falcon castle, or it'll be something entirely different. Like it's going to be one of the two. But my question, and this is probably to Jeff and the older community members here, what makes any of these distinct from another building wise, or what could be attributed into a 90th anniversary set?
All right, so here's the thing about that. So let's talk about Forestman for quick. Can you bring it up? All right, so Forestman right there, right? That's technically Castle. We all know that's Castle. Oh, it's Castle because it's Robin Hood. It's a different aesthetic. It's the same with the one right next to it, the bridge and everything else. It's a different aesthetic that fits within the Castle universe, whatever, okay? Same within the one next with that, the Dragon Knights, and so on and so forth, okay? So people liked the way that castles looked from different eras of those castles. I myself am a Forest Man, Wolfpack guy, so whatever. But there's also people like Captain Xavier, who is a Lego YouTuber and a darn nice guy, who likes the middle style classic castle right there, the green circle one there. So I could see people coming down and being exactly like you are, Brian, and I'm sure the younger folks, well, why is there 7 castle themes? Or whatever. Because they're different aesthetics and they look different. They have different minifigures that people really enjoyed. But if Lego was smart, I think they would build the green circle castle, and then throw in other visiting knights from the other factions.
Right.
Give a bit of everything to everybody. Would that work for Space? Probably not. But for Castle, yes.
So we can get to Space afterward, but at least for Castle, like I would either say they would go with the yellow castle and call it a day, or they do a $300 to $400 UCS 90th anniversary giant gray castle, and it's the ultimate Lego castle, one that has never been released before, that will just be like, all right, this is the only thing you're going to get, but it's going to be the most amazing castle Lego has ever done. And it's going to be gray, and it'll incorporate little details of each of these castle things. So I don't think there's a specific theme that they would attribute it to, but maybe they would just go with Black Falcons because they put that in the Blacksmith Shop, right? Like it's more so, I feel like it's going to come down to like what emblem is going to be on the armor by comparison. Like I don't,
Well, I mean, if cost isn't an issue here, in my opinion, why not? I know this is going to be far-reaching, and I'm sure someone will be upset about it, but why not give us interchangeable torsos with the castle set that they come out with? So it's a Black Falcon castle, but the Lion Knights were able to whatever, okay? So just so you can switch it all out.
You know what they could do is again, this is a lot maybe, but if they had a sticker sheet and you could just apply whatever stickers you wanted to the banners, just slip up all the banners and you're done. Make them whatever, right?
They did that with Star Justice. I don't know if any of you know what that set is, but when the minifigures came out, all their torsos had stickers on them to represent all that stuff that's happening. So.
They wouldn't do that for the minifigures, but I could see them if they included just regular knights, just plain gray, and then the banners and the colors could be swapped out, relatively easy, right?
That's how the yellow castle is like that, right? It's all stickers that you applied to. It's just plain minifigs.
But that's also ancient, so
right? You
got to think of the design philosophy that Lego would go with for new stuff. I'm not saying you're not thinking of that, but that's just another thing to keep in mind.
I would call it ancient.
Yeah, ancient in internet terms. I'm sorry, Joshua. Go ahead.
I don't think there's any way they would make the yellow castle either. I don't think people are going to vote for that. I mean, when you look at the castle fans in the community, I think people lean much more towards a more realistic looking castle theme. I don't think there's enough of the older fans out there that are so nostalgic for a yellow castle that they would vote for that.
Okay.
I would be stunned if that got enough votes and beat out the other castle teams.
So I'm eliminating that one.
Oh, I don't know about that, Joshua.
But okay, but if they come out with $100 plus castle though, Jeff, it's not going to be yellow. It's going to be gray. Right?
I honestly don't know, man.
So
I think,
I mean, 'cause to me, the yellow castle just like looks objectively so much worse than like a real looking castle.
Right.
The only reason you would vote for that is because of like nostalgia, basically.
But imagine if they did that, you know, in 4K, right? Like Barracuda Bay. It's like new. It's like, whoa, new building techniques, new like shading and whatever. Like,
I mean, maybe if they found the right way to do it, but I think it'd be hard to make it as cool as in these other castle themes like Wolfpack, Forest Men, all of these really amazing themes that they've had over the years that already have so much better material.
real quick, Isabel in the chat says, echoing what other people have said, they should bring out an anniversary set for each of the different factory or factions, town space, etc. That just sounds smart in terms of sales. And that is something I meant to bring up for this entire argument. I think it's ridiculous that Lego isn't coming out with at least 5 or a half dozen anniversary sets for the 90th anniversary. You could absolutely do $100 set for adventurers, you know, a $150 pirate ship, a classic space set. You could hit all the markers that represent Lego and it would sell, and that can celebrate the anniversary maybe for the 100th, but that's another 10 years from now. So how can you possibly accumulate 90 years of legacy into one Lego set that you're having people vote for? Like, there's room for more sets. I don't care how many SKUs there are. Like, there's enough room to work with a lot of these themes and make a really cool one-off set that people love.
So to quote Kevin Hinkle for Reelsy Reels, you don't know that they're not going to do that.
Well, right. And I would love that. And I certainly hope so. But even still with this discussion here, you can still whittle down what they are and are not going to do.
Yeah, I think that brass tacks, I think when it comes down to it, is that Lego will do a set or something along those lines of every one of those factions or themes or whatever else. I think that we'll get that over time, just not all at once. Maybe I'm wrong.
Looking at this list, just going back to it, Adventurers Joshua chose. I actually grew up on Alpha Team over here, and I think that's a little bit too similar to Adventurers, so I'm going to eliminate that one. Just
Alpha Team had some cool stuff, but yeah. I don't think I've not heard people talk about it, you know, with the affection that you get with a theme like Adventurers, in terms of what people would vote for.
Didn't we get a Alpha Team minifigure and a CMF?
No,
I don't think an exact Alpha. Did we get an exact Alpha Team? I think there have been some similar looking ones.
Isn't it this guy?
No, that's not a CMF.
Well, yeah, it is. The torso is. I just traded out the heads.
Oh.
Yeah. But I mean, isn't that...
Yeah,
Anyway.
but that's not... Oh, yeah.
I think I might have that same torso, actually.
So let me go back. Okay, so the pirate ship, I can almost guarantee you 1,000% they're not going to do because of Barracuda Bay. Do we all agree?
That one pirate ship they just released.
That, and I see that's why I didn't vote for that or the Imperial set, because I feel like we got Barracuda Bay, which I don't know, it captures a lot of those vibes for me and was such an amazing set that I would hope people would be like, okay, we got that. Let's kind of vote for something else to get in now.
Right. So I'm eliminating that one. So you can see, like, we're whittling down this list here of like what is feasible, what would Lego do, what is like most accurate.
I like Kirk's real quick. I like Kirk's vote for studio. I almost voted for that. I think that was a very unique, very different theme that certainly has potential for them if they decided to re-release it. Then some cool directions they could go in there.
Right. So what happened with Studio, though, it relied a lot on two things. One, early Spider-Man 2002, which that obviously wouldn't happen now. But then two, Monsters, which we're seeing the going away of Hidden Side allegedly. But you know, this studio has something different to it compared to Hidden Side, but is that spooky itch hit with a theme like Hidden Side or Monster Fighters? I know, shout out to Tricky Bricks in the chat, wants Monster Fighters to come back, and this would be the closest you could get to it in a way, but has that already been scratched, or would they just not bother?
I think it's been scratched. I think that they view, I don't want to say this because I don't know how accurate it is, but the way that the Hidden Side didn't sell, you know what I mean? I think that Lego saw that and went, well, okay, you know, I guess we're not gonna.
Well, that was the app. I think a lot of that had to do with the app and the lack of honesty and communication with the box art, where you saw these really cool ghosts on there. They're not included. So mishap there
too. But I think that Lego will just, you know, sort of be like, maybe next time, you know.
Although I do like with Studio, it's like a movie set. Like you can make it's such a cool concept.
Oh, I love that concept as well. I have a couple of the of those from back in the day because I wanted the director because I thought it looked like George Lucas. Anyway,
is there before we continue any further, are there any of these castle sets down here that we can eliminate?
Yes. The bridge.
The Wolfpack one? Yeah, Wolfpack had some neat sets in it, but it's just such an obscure, like even more obscure and sub-theme than some of these others. I feel like Forest Men is a much more well-known theme.
Right, yeah, I agree.
So yeah, I just don't see enough people voting for that.
Well, Wolfpack only had like what three actual sets. Like,
right. It was
no. They get out of here. No, they're not going to. No.
Yeah.
I want to eliminate two more of these. Which two?
Yeah, it's hard to say because it depends on if people want the more like classic castle look, like the one that's circled in green there, or if they want something a little different.
All right, so let's get rid of the dragon set.
I like I want that dragon mold to come back. That's a sick mold, but okay.
Well, so do I, but that's never going to happen.
That is another more obscure theme, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I don't know.
That's more fantastical, mystical, right?
Brian, you mentioned earlier about the blacksmith and how it kind of has the Black Falcons. So I mean, you could say eliminate that because they've done the blacksmith, and so they'll go in a different direction.
Well, or the castle would be a Black Falcon,
right?
Castle.
Or they tie it in. So I guess it depends on what direction you think they'd go in there.
Why are we keeping this castle in the bottom left? What's special about it?
The base plate and the fact that it's different than the castle in the.
Let's get all this out of the way. Everyone in the chat, you're not getting a molded base plate. Let's get any
the base plate is the
most
unique part of that castle. Yeah. So if you eliminate the base plate, then there's really not too much special about that.
We'll nix the base plate. But the fact that the castle has towers, the fact that it came with all of those horses, and the fact that it came with all of the
hold on, but Jeff, the thing is, that is something that any castle set could do. What makes that theme, that castle line special compared to something else?
A lot of people that are 38 years old grew up with that castle. So a lot of people who see that castle will want that castle.
Well, right, but I think we're buttoned here, but we're not like understand. So like in terms of like a building style, what makes the Black Castle different from the Gray Castle other than the base plate?
The detail of the roof, the pageantry of the flags, the detail that goes into how the buildings look. When you look at the Gray Castle, it's a Gray Castle. But when you look at the Black Castle, it's a Black Castle that has arches and windows and things like that. And it has all of those things that the Gray Castle doesn't. The Black Castle is more detailed.
Well, right, but that could be something that is changed with it being updated.
Sure.
This is a similar issue that we're going to get into with the space sets too, because a lot of these, they have, like, they're very bright colors, they're very futuristic looking, but what makes one better over another?
Right. I mean, yeah, both of those themes, you're right, have very similar issues. Just looking at the images here, both space and castle, it's like, how do you even choose between, a number of these? There is a lot of similarities.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to like dismiss your arguments, Jeff. I'm just trying to think of it from like a what could it bring to the table differently? Perspective, I guess. I don't like. To me, there's a very distinct difference between the style of Classic Space compared to M-Tron. Right? They look very different. But
you're absolutely right. Yeah.
But to me, the two castles on the bottom left, they seem more similar than not overall. Maybe it's just because they're like the same shaped castle. I don't know. But we can leave it for now. In terms of space, Jeff, which one of these are you eliminating right out the gate?
Classic Space. Get rid of
No,
it.
you can't. No. You
Okay.
can't. There's no way. There's no way.
Okay.
There's no okay. But like
But can't you say we got Classic Space with the Lego Movie stuff, right? So
And we're getting space right now in 3-in-1 creator sets, which is basically updated classic spaceships. Fight me. I'm not wrong about this.
but we have had a lot of very similar sets. So I mean, it seems like of all these things, as far as stuff they've done recently, we have had Classic Space recently.
Yes, we have.
But that doesn't mean people won't still vote for it and make it one of the majority
right.
themes.
Oh, that'll happen regardless. Like what we think and what will happen are probably two different things
Sure.
here. So
what about what are those two?
Space
Explorers.
Yeah, and the Sperians.
So I grew up with Explorians and I grew up with Spirus and all that fun stuff. But yeah, I don't see those being a thing at all. They're cool. They've got that great design and they're super fantastic. And dudes my age still get crazy about it because, oh my God, it's the Explorians and they're so great and I love them to pieces and blah, blah. But really, I mean, you can get that with an M-Tron set or a Space Police set or a M-Tron set. Because
that's what I was trying to convey with the castle.
Oh, I got it, Brian. I was just giving you a hard time, me and Derek.
So wait, which one of these am I? I can't even tell which one's which.
I
Or
know.
maybe that's just me being young.
We're gonna get rid of the white and blue one and the black and red one.
All right, so this whole section's gone, ladies
Yeah,
and gentlemen.
those are definitely the more obscure space themes for sure.
So I'm too young. I don't know what is obscure from
Well,
back in the day.
I'm just thinking, I didn't have these growing up, but it just I also base a lot of this off of what I've seen at shows like mocks and what people do, and I don't think either of those themes have seen hardly at all.
There's like 5 people that are jonesing for Ice Planet, and they're all on a Facebook page that I belong to. And literally, it's like, okay, we get it. And like I like building Ice Planet mocks. I've got a couple myself, but it's not one of those things where I'm like, well, I guess I really want this Ice Planet stuff again. So
Kevin said
pops and it's great, but besides that, okay.
Kevin said earlier in the chat that he chose that as his third because after Classic Space, he felt like that was the most popular of these other sub themes.
I agree with Kevin.
I don't know. I will say, M-Tron, as far as going back to what I was saying about what you see at conventions, as far as like what people base mocks of, I think M-Tron is definitely the most popular. If you're going off of what people use as inspiration for builds in the community, I've seen a number of very large M-Tron displays over the years, and it seems like that one out of all of these has really spawned a lot of like big fans and builds in the community.
Between the bricks in the chat, Jeff wearing a Classic Space shirt. Also, Jeff, cut Classic Space.
Actually, I'm wearing a Spaceman Spiff shirt from Calvin and Hobbes.
Actually, Dan. Actually.
And just because it looks a little familiar and you might think Classic Space.
Right. Of the adventure themes, or I don't know what you want to call them up here, this kind of row, I think the one to eliminate is this one in here, Extreme Team, right?
Yeah, who cares about Extreme Team?
All right.
Yeah, I think we've gotten a lot of stuff in that same vein in recent years, and yeah, it's not unique enough. There was some cool sets in that theme, but
now going back to Time Cruisers for a second, Jeff, I would love to see the wonkiness of Time Cruisers be a thing and how they would do it,
So would
but I don't think it's going to happen.
No, I don't live in La La Land. That'll never happen. I mean, as much as I'd be like, yeah, Time Cruisers has to be a thing for time travel adventures. No.
No, you would be satisfied with time traveling adventures if and when they come out with a UCS DeLorean. Isn't that right, Lego? Come on now.
The real question is, why isn't Ghostbusters on this list, right, Jeff?
Back to the Future's not that great a movie. I said it.
I think I have a great affinity for Rock Raiders, and
base plate aside,
I think there's some cool stuff that theme did, but we've also seen themes since then that have very much retread that idea.
Power Miners.
So I don't think that's going to make it, because we've had other like Power Miners and much more recent themes that actually had quite a number of sets in them that were the same idea. So it's just not that unique to bring back something like that in my opinion.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
All right, so I'm going to eliminate this one too. See, we're getting down here.
And
And just
Classic Bricks, yes, this is the shirt that Fazoom designed.
yes.
Sorry.
Just for full transparency here, none of my picks have been eliminated, by the way.
Oh, see, I was going to say, we haven't actually heard your picks yet. So
None of my picks have been eliminated. This Imperial thing, I think it's too close to Pirates, man.
that's why I didn't vote for it. Yeah, I love Imperial and I love Pirates, but we got the Barracuda Bay. To me, that's kind of had those types of themes covered. So let's get something else that is more unique.
Yeah.
This really looks atrocious with all this red. Sorry, John. My bad. Whoops.
It's
But,
working very well, really. It's narrowing things down for us.
Yeah, right. I want to eliminate one more of these space themes. What's this black one over here? What's this?
Wait, we have some late breaking news before we continue here, Brian.
This is all a trick, just trying to cover up that they're releasing a UCS stock. Flick. Don't tell them. Jeez. What's this black one over here?
That is Space Police.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Ooh,
People will
okay.
vote for it. I guarantee it.
What about this black and yellow one?
That's Blacktron. Keep that as well.
Yeah, Blacktron is popular. I feel like between Blacktron and Space Police, Blacktron is more popular.
Yes.
So if you had to eliminate one, I think Space Police would be the one to eliminate out of those two.
All right. What about
Joshua? I agree completely.
Aquazone? Yes, no? I think
Yeah,
out.
keep it. Keep it.
Keep it.
Keep it.
All right. So I'm going to eliminate Space Police. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's out. So I'm going to make the case because, none of my picks I don't think have been eliminated.
Wow. Look at you.
Still. Because I'm just that in touch with what people
Wow.
would want from Lego.
Or you're rigging it because you're the one with the Photoshop here.
Hey, but no.
Yeah.
No. I think we've eliminated like all the ones that are either kind of repetitive or Lego has done recently and everything else.
Also,
So-
you created a new idea for some future merch here, Brian.
The advent calendar. There we go. Jensen, you're not getting a cut. So the way I look at this, let's talk the big kahuna that the kids won't shut up about. This guy over here. First of all, what a give me the full screen here. Whoever put together the images on the ideas blog to get all these themes in one go, what an absolutely horrific image you chose for Bionicle. That is a personal call out to you, sir or madam or whoever.
I will say real quick. Addressing this point, shout out to Andrew Boltop from BZ Power, very well known in the Bionicle community. He made that same point that you just made on the Lego Ambassador Network, and one of the ideas people responded and said these were the photos that he was sent for that post. So I don't know who made the decision on what photos were chosen, but the person who actually made the post didn't decide. They just used the photos that they were sent. But I agree, certainly not the best representation. I will stick up for the Bionicle fans here, which I know I don't do real often.
Yeah,
and
100%.
they got a little undercut with that photo there.
100%. Disgusting photo. Whoever's job it was, and again, it's not the person who posted it. Whoever decided that was the picture, awful job, horrendous job. You knocked it out of the park with all the rest of these, awful. So let's get that out of the way. Secondly,
that's pretty accurate to me.
wow. So secondly, Kevin says that I'm saying I'm so in touch with the overall Lego fan. No, listen, I just have a knack for these things. Shut up, Kevin. You're old news. So the thing is, with this Bionicle set here, the thing that I believe Bionicle fans want, now correct me if I'm wrong, Kevin, is that they want Bionicle to come back as full force as it possibly can be with the building system that Bionicle is known for. So if they came out with that Lego Ideas set for the 20th anniversary of Bionicle, that is a system Bionicle set. That would not be the point of coming out with a Bionicle set. They want the joints, they want the blah, 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 blah. And because Lego doesn't want to manufacture all those parts, in that case, for a particular Ideas set, they're like, no, we're not going to do it. And also, Bionicle fans want all new parts to work with to add on to their creations. And I don't think one set for one character or whatever they would come up with in a Bionicle system style Technic set would do it justice. They're not going to come out with a $20 Bionicle set and call it a day. So I don't see how that could justify being made for the 90th anniversary at all.
Or we could just accept the fact that they tried Bionicle, they even re-released it and everything. It didn't work, and we can move on because that's what adults do.
Wow.
Hey.
Wow. Wow.
I've been waiting to say that for a long time.
Wow.
Joshua, you and I just became bestest friends in the whole wide world. Which is a blessing and a curse, just so you know.
Yeah, Ben says that, I think it's Jang who recently said that Bionicle, they would want it to be vintage, and Lego would never accept it. Right. I think that's it. I think a lot of it is nostalgia based with the canister that you crack open, and it's the very simplistic or minimalist rather Bionicle characters, and you're never going to get that canister ever again because of the environment. Like, that's awful, horrendous for the environment. It's going to be a box just like it was last time. So get over that. I don't think it could do justice as a 90th anniversary at all.
No.
I think, like Kevin said, it'll get the votes. I think it'll be top 3. And I do think that there is something for Lego coming out with a one-off and done original 6 lineup, remastered, kind of like what they did before, but they messed it up according to Bionicle fans. Do it one final time, and then Lego can be like, you kids better shut up now, you hear me? And then that's it.
But they won't. That's the thing.
They
won't. You can't do anything. There's just no pleasing them.
So for those reasons, I think Bionicle will get the votes, but I don't think we'll make it as a set. But that is what I would vote for. That would be one of my votes, is that.
Oh.
Just because I think of any of these Lego themes that are on here or were on here, Bionicle does represent a lot to Lego, and I think it does have value to the back catalog of Lego.
So wait, are you saying, Brian, that gets you your vote for what you think will be made, or what you personally of all these themes would like to see made?
In terms of what I would like to see made, I would love to see an original 6 lineup of Bionicle as a one-off finale. Maybe I'm just voting for it for the memes, honestly. I'm not even whatever.
No, that I can appreciate. I can get behind that.
Now,
Has Brenda been whispering things in your ear, Brian? Is that what's happening right now?
A lot of sweet, succulent honey. Lots of honey from Brenda.
Look, man, you can't let your girlfriend pollute your mind about your own interests, all right?
Okay. So the main theme, I'm going to push for the thing that I absolutely unequivocally think that should be the 90th anniversary set. I think this theme is the most malleable in terms of what you can do with it. It scratches something that Lego hasn't tackled in quite a long time, an original theme that is just a very cool concept, and you could keep rolling with it in general. I agree with Joshua that it absolutely has to be Adventures right here. Has to be.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
100%.
Now you're talking some sense.
Because you get Johnny Thunder, you get like ancient temples, you can get like pyramids, you could do whatever you wanted to do with Johnny Thunder and all that. It doesn't need to be Orient Expedition. It just needs to be something like crazy cool and out of the box. Like that to me.
You can make Indiana Jones like sets without having to get a license for it.
Right. But I mean, they might come out with Indiana Jones sets because Disney and Indy 5, that could be a thing. But I think, I don't know. Apparently, we lost all the Facebook viewers 2 hours ago. Whoops. I don't know how that happened, John. Whoops. My bad. Is it something
I think that's a reference to how in-depth we're going with these themes, and the general fandom on Facebook doesn't quite follow as much.
True.
But no, I agree, Brian. That's always been the beautiful thing about Adventures for me, is just how flexible it is. You can go anywhere in the world. You can have such unique and diverse and interesting minifigures and settings. And I think for me, like as a kid growing up with that's the kind of thing that I think inspired so much interest in like travel and history for me as an adult, is that sort of stuff when I was a kid. So I would love to see them do more with that.
And I think Lego knows that, and that is quintessential Lego as well, is inspiring that creativity in a way that a lot of these other themes that we've eliminated have not, and that there is so much room to do so much with it that if they made a $200 adventurer set, that to me would most accurately represent the 90th anniversary of Lego in one go, one set, a big set, that's it. Or a classic, I think between adventurers, a classic space theme of some kind, whether it's, you want to call it Ice Planet, M-Tron, I don't care, and then a castle theme of some kind. One of those three, if you did all three, bam, you're good. And then I would vote Bionicle for the lulz.
I think M-Tron for the space stuff, it gets my vote. I mean, I'm not a big space fan. I'm not familiar with a lot of these, but if I had to take one guess, I would say M-Tron would be the space one that would get it.
Can I ask why?
Basically for the reasons that I explained earlier. I feel like of all of these here, well, classic space obviously is super popular, but like we were talking about earlier, we've gotten a lot of that from the Lego movie and everything.
Yeah.
So besides classic space, I think M-Tron definitely, from my years in the Lego community, what I've seen at shows, talking to builders, seems to be the most loved and has inspired the most builds and just the most passion around it in terms of what people really want to take and make builds out of and go places with, basically.
Well, that's the thing. Like, so I wasn't there, but you were there. This is for conventions and everything else. Is that if there was a Blacktron moon base or whatever, right? Like, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
There's always an M-Tron one right across from it or near it or combined with it too. And I wasn't like poo-pooing on you, like, why do you think that? But no, I agree with you because M-Tron has always been present. And like, that's still one of the things that even is still built today by a lot of builders. Like builders will go crazy for M-Tron because the magnets and everything else. And they like the idea of like the working class spaceman, which is basically M-Tron, you know? So
Real quick, I wanna bring up something. So with studios specifically, what makes studio what makes studio so special about it, other than the fact that you could put cameras on the Lego set and it's a studio set?
Oof.
I mean, that is what's special, I guess. I mean, that the whole idea of it's like you're shooting a movie, that is what's unique about it.
Well, why couldn't you do that with an adventure set or literally any other set ever?
Because the same reason that kids won't combine action figures, because it's not part of the same theme.
Right. I mean, I guess I think the whole point is it's marketed as like you're making a movie. But right, I agree. You could throw cameras onto almost anything and say that same thing, but it's not how the sets were designed.
So like those sets were designed so that aspiring Lego builders, such as Kirk Wilson over there, could get an idea of what a set, either Lego or physical, could be, so that if you wanted to, you could take the next step and go into stop motion. Those sets were great for that because they came with the action features and things like that. And I just dropped a potted plant. And it was unique for its time because I remember when those came out, and I remember, okay, Spider-Man 2 came out for it, and I didn't care. But the monster movie and like everything else, the dinosaur chasing and stuff like that, that got my brain working when I was a kid. And that got me wanting to, make a stop motion film and do what they did in Empire Strikes Back with the AT-ATs and everything else, just because of that. So I think it was a good educational tool for the aspiring filmmakers such as Kirk Wilson.
One thing I want to do, if you want to go back to the full screen here, I did manage to like zoom in and all that. I would like to eliminate this castle, and the only reason is because Lego has gotten rid of this ghost mold and they're not making it again, and I don't understand why. Glow in the dark aside, so if they can't pull off the ghost for this set here, don't make the set.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. So I I unfortunately am going to have to agree with you on that basis and that basis alone, Brian.
I also think that the thing that's most unique about that castle, and I think, Jeff, you maybe alluded to this earlier, is definitely the like regalia, the minifigs, the horses, just how like you compare the minifigs and the horses and everything to the other castle sets, and they're definitely more sort of advanced and colorful and decorated in that set. But is that enough, putting the castle aside and just looking at the minifigs? I don't know if that's enough to put it over these other themes.
It's not. And I want it to be, but it's not.
Well,
And people get like that about everything that they love or they really enjoy or whatever. They want theirs to be present and counted for. It's like all the Bionicle fans for the last 10 years.
So with this logic in mind, can we eliminate the Robin Hood-esque thing? Because I feel like you could attach bridges to a castle thing and have the trees. Like, what is it about that?
Robin Hood.
Right. I think that it's more right. It's not so much. I mean, the sets are cool, and I think you've got, some uniqueness there in the fact that they're living in trees and hideouts and stuff. But I think there's just so much interest in a Robin Hood type story and theme out there. I mean, you've seen that, for centuries now, how those types of stories are popular with people. And I think they also just translate so well into Lego with those sets. I think that there is definitely a lot of uniqueness there to that.
Well, this is so Steven in the chat from Facebook is saying this, and this is what I'm saying. They could add details to the other castle sets, though. So what if there was a section of a giant $300 castle where there's a Robin Hood figure going down the side of the castle to rob the gold of the castle to give to the peasants?
That sounds really familiar, like it was already said by somebody that's not you.
What?
Oh, I'm just saying that I said that.
So we can eliminate that. Like, what else makes it?
I mean, I still say it's unique to have the dedicated hideout sets and everything, and I think that it's very different than your typical like gray castle sets. As amazing as those are, I think it does bring a very different element. But I also, you could just have a couple Robin Hood's men at a castle stealing something, but it's definitely not the same thing as a full theme with the hideout sets and little spots in trees to put men and all of that sort of stuff.
Okay,
it's
so
like this. So Star Wars Return of the Jedi, there's two major scenes that take place on planets there, right? There's Endor and then there's Tatooine.
They're very
it's
different,
like
right?
The Ewoks and putting them on Tatooine.
You're okay. I get you. Yep. So, okay, with this logic that I keep trying to convey and then I keep failing at, or rather you guys are explaining to me that I'm thinking incorrectly about it. With the Black Falcon thing, is it a similar thing where you could just put Black Falcon stuff on this castle and call it a day? Can we eliminate this?
You could, right. With that, you could. I mean, those are very similar gray castles, right. I agree with that.
So this is good. There's these two left. I want this for space. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which one of the... So Ice Planet is not involved in this, right? Or like what?
So it's Ice Planet.
Is Ice Planet space or no? It's not.
Yes, Ice Planet is space.
All right, so two of these got to go.
To me, going back to again my experience at conventions and everything, it's Blacktron, Mtron, and Ice Planet. I would say Blacktron and Mtron are the two more popular out of those. So I would say Ice Planet would be eliminated from my experience.
You hear that, Fazoom? Classic space, it's gone, buddy. Sorry, man.
Well, I mean, you're absolutely right, Joshua. Like, besides, so Classic Space at conventions, like I said, I have not been there, but I have watched hours and hours of you and whoever else, blah, 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 and it's either a moon base, a Blacktron base, or an Mtron base. But we're seeing less and less moon bases, and we're seeing more and more Blacktron and Mtron, and quite frankly, it sounds like you're really bored when you see those. I'm just saying. Maybe some love for it, Joshua.
Zoom in the chat says this is the worst doodle stream ever. And when he's gonna hate it when I put a nice big fat red X over this classic space thing.
Real quick to Fazoom, if I would be interested, do you feel like, and Fazoom is what I would say, the number one space expert in the community, always the person I turn to for that. Do you feel like, as a big space fan, that from Lego Movie and everything else, you've gotten classic space sets that kind of fill that for you at all? Or do you still feel like you would vote for the straight classic space theme because you need more of that.
Put your bias aside, Chris. Put your bias aside. Think of the greater good of the people.
I also
I
like
know
what
you want
Kevin
Blacksmith.
says here about how this is 100 times more in depth than the real meeting that they'll have about this.
You know what? That's just more proof that they should send us to Denmark, Kevin. We can do all the debating for them.
I would
great.
love to go to Denmark with you guys under the Beyond the Brick flag and then get arrested at one point. I'm just saying.
Jeff will get arrested together. Why can we not eliminate this aqua thing? What's the deal?
Aquanauts is a very unique theme. It's the Seatron we never got.
Underwater themes can be very popular. I mean, there's a reason Lego consistently does them. I mean, there's so much cool stuff you can do with under the water, aesthetic themes. So, I mean, I think there is a lot of pull for that.
So the same reason that Adventurers is still up there. You can do a lot of fun stuff under the sea, and Aquanauts was the first ones that, as far as I remember, the Aquanauts and the Aquazone business, they were the first ones to be like, well, Sequest is big right now. How can we cash in on this? So they made, that.
Okay, so between Blacktron and Mtron, which one is going? We gotta eliminate some. We gotta.
But there is one thing I want to say though in regards to like the sea thing.
Wait, Kirk is talking.
Hey,
Oh my
Okay,
goodness! Kirk,
I'm going to address.
Did you
what's
raise your
going on.
hand first, Kirk?
No, I'm not going to either. I saw what was going on in the chat. I didn't want to interrupt because of the fact that I can't say too much about this stuff because I don't know that much about it. But in regards to the deep sea sort of set, the Aquazone set, isn't there the slight chance that they might not go with that due to the fact that City kind of takes care of that already? Isn't there that possibility or no?
No.
I think we have, Maniac for Bricks just pointed out in the chat. He says we did just have ocean exploration in City. So I will say there have been similar themes of, on the water, under the water type of stuff that they've done in City in recent years. So
That's
that is
why I'm just worried, maybe that might not be a possibility at all. Just due to that fact. I'm just saying. I'm sorry, Jeff. You see, that's why I didn't want to say. I didn't want to rain on anyone's parade. I'm just saying.
You're raining on my parade.
Due to that, I'm just
Walking
thinking.
through the fair, and I'm going, it's a beautiful day. I love this day. Look how great this is. And then a torrential downpour of Kirk Wilson's anti-enthusiasm.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know.
You're not build your little Spider-Man mock or whatever it is.
I'll circle back.
I don't know.
Circle back to my question to Chris Fazoom in the chat, and he did say he still wants more Classic Space because when Classic Space came out, it was a huge change for Lego and Lego sets. I don't really see how that's super relevant. I mean, yeah, when it first came out, I can see what you're saying, but we've had it now. We had more with the Lego movie stuff. I don't think it's going to be a massive change to bring it back out now because the whole point is this is like a throwback to an old theme. But I know you're a big fan, Chris, so I see what you're saying there. But I'd like to see them do something more unique. And I know Brian just left, but I think he was right before he left. He was saying we have to choose between Blacktron and Mtron. So Jeff, what is your vote in that final two there?
Man. So that's a tough question for me.
While you're thinking, I'm going to stick to my guns. What I've been saying all along, I think Mtron is the most likely. So if I had to eliminate one of those, I'd go with Blacktron. But go ahead.
Counterpoint. So Blacktron has always been the cooler color scheme as far as people that build those big moon bases and stuff goes. Also, they don't do magnets anymore. So I think I'm going to have to go with Blacktron for the fact that is more feasible than Mtron would be.
That is a logical point.
I would love to see both, but
I don't appreciate you bringing those logical points into this argument, Jeff, but you do make a good point about the magnets because that was key to Mtron. So without that,
absolutely not going to do magnets, 100%.
Well, that could make Mtron difficult then. From that,
so then we're getting rid of Mtron.
I guess so. I guess we'll just get rid of it.
Yeah.
I didn't even know magnets were a thing.
They were a big part of Mtron.
No,
so
absolutely not. The only time Lego has used magnets in the past 10 years, 20 years has been trains. So no.
Yep. And then we also eliminated Ice Planet, I think earlier. Did you not?
Okay. Ice Planet, my bad.
I think Blacktron is definitely the more popular.
Okay, so now I'm gonna go back to studio here real quick. Is this still something we can keep on the table? Can anyone in the stream or in the chat defend studio?
I can't really defend it. The only reason why I think it has a possibility just because of like how unique of a, I guess, set it would be in terms of like the idea. I mean, personally for me, like if I was to see something like that, I guess like it's something that I would want to buy just because like the whole movie aspect and then like the sort of behind the scenes aspect that they're going with. So I find that appealing, but I don't know about anyone else. That's just me.
Real quick, two things involving the chat. Tricky Bricks, thank you for hanging out. If you guys are around and want to be on one of these streams one day, let us know. We'll make it happen. And secondly, in terms of people appearing in the live stream, Kevin's doing an awful lot of talking, and he's not in here. So
That's true. That is very true.
awful lot of talking. Well, who's going to draw stuff? What you come? Get in here. Make yourself known. All right.
Kevin, you're welcome to join. If you need the link, feel free.
Yeah.
No, he's not going to because he's drawing. Because Kevin's a coward. Okay. He's a coward. He wants to hide behind his screen and draw his little Zelda.
I need someone to vocally call me out when I'm not talking, Kevin. So you need to get just do that. Yeah, do that.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I see your point that you made earlier, Brian, about how you can throw cameras on anything and turn it into a studio set, but I still think it's like it's very unique to market it that way as like studio. These sets are like you're making a movie, so I think there's a lot of uniqueness there that makes it cool.
Yeah, but I feel like there could be something if, let's say, they ended up going with adventures, and then they had a camera set up.
You could have like a documentary crew with the adventurers sets. That would be awesome. Actually, that would be super cool.
So, like I could circle both of them. Like, hey, Lego, let's just put these two together. So we're down to two space themes, two castle themes. Bionicle is not going to happen. Can we all agree? Not going to happen.
You mean they won't make a set, or it's not gonna get the votes?
They're not going to make the set. They don't get the votes. They won't make the set.
That I would tend to agree. That does seem to be the general thoughts out there. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. See, Kevin's too busy making stickers instead of defending his honor in the chat. So, all right, that's fine. He's a responsible adult. Sorry, LJ Johnson. Rest in pepperoni. Lewa will not see his day today. So I like this list though. I really do. The only one I don't like is Aquazone. It's the only one.
What I was saying earlier before you left was like I don't know the possibility of it happening just due to the fact that like city and the deep sea stuff.
And
so we were talking about that while you were gone, that they have had like under the water deep sea city stuff, so that would be a reason to eliminate that, because we have as we pointed out with some of these other themes, they've done stuff with it recently, kind of like Rock Raiders, Power Miners type of stuff.
Okay. Why would they put Bionicle on there if they had the intent to make it? Won't that just upset fans? I feel like Bionicle is a passionate enough fan base, and I think is relevant enough in Lego's mind that if they didn't, they know they would face the lashback from it. And if they did have every intention of making it, I would, and I'm not going to know this because I don't work at Lego and I don't have connections like that, but I would love to see what a designer or the team had in mind if they were ever going to do a one-off of Bionicle. What would that look like? Would it be one set of 6? Would it be a small product line? Would it be a system set, a Technic-based set? What would that look? I'm very curious to see what it would look like, but I have no idea. They don't pay me enough money. Nobody pays me at all to think of ideas like that. So
look, you know what the Bionicle fans are in the Lego community? Karen.
Oh,
Karen. Mr. Lego Man. My son likes these Bionicle robot creatures with the masks. They don't have those anymore, and little Joey really wants them. I really need this back. Please give them back to us. Please, Mr. Lego Man.
It's so true, though. I mean, I think that I know, like, Bionicle fans have never liked me and probably Beyond the Brick because of that, and I'm sure they think we should cover way more Bionicle stuff at conventions. But that's just how you feel when talking to Bionicle fans. It's that feeling, and it's like, come on. I mean,
I love Joshua. I love how polarizing you are on this topic. I love it. I love this energy. I love it.
This is my favorite thing Joshua has ever talked about. I've been watching your channel for years, and usually it's like, well, this is on in the background. Tell me more why you hate this thing, please.
I mean, I've felt this way for a while, but I don't say it too much because I know there are a lot of Bionicle fans out there. And, you know, we go to a lot of shows, so we try to keep a good relationship with people. But that's just how I feel. That there's nothing I can do about it.
I feel a kind of similar way, and I talk to who I deem in my head as the king / ringleader of the Bionicle fans, and that's LJ Johnston. All right, incredibly good host and just a good guy overall. And I've been on his show a couple of times, and I'm gonna do more stuff with him over time. And when I talk to him, as somebody who is so deeply invested in Bionicle, we're on the TTV channel, they go into like adding to the Bionicle lore by coming up with new characters, and it's like, all right, but there's people watching and people that care. But even when I talk to him, I messaged him and I'm like, man, I don't know if I'm voting for Bionicle. And he's like, oh, they're not going to make it. No, absolutely not. But it'd be funny. And I'm like, well, you're right. So if he's the ringleader, the king of Bionicle in the community that I've deemed in my head, and he's like, nah, no, they're not.
Who else has ringleaders, Brian?
What?
Criminals. There's always a criminal ringleader, mastermind.
Well, then it's LJ Johnson of the Bionicle community.
Criminals, so therefore, nix on the Bionicle.
Shout out to Jonathan Strickland for being a Bionicle fan and a fan of Beyond the Brick. We do appreciate that. I don't think there's a lot, but we appreciate you being here.
All right, so Isabella brought up a very cool point, and I lost it. So here it is. If you want to throw this up on the big screen at 128. In my opinion, Bionicle was so popular because they were small-scale sets, ergo easier to collect and store, but shoot me down for being a Karen Jeff. Not all of us have super Lego rooms. First things first, that's okay if you don't have a super Lego room. I don't have a super Lego room either. This is my Lego command center. Big difference. Huge difference. But you're right. They were easy to get because they were at a price point for some families, and I understand that struggle and everything else. And yeah, they had some creative outflow for it, and in its own respect, Bionicle did some great things for Lego, like save the company. But besides that, you had your time. It was great. Thanks. Bye. It's like when you go on a date with somebody and you don't really want to go on the date with somebody, but you're like, okay, I guess I'll do this. And then afterwards, you're like, okay, I'll see you later. Well, do you want to call me later? No. Like, it was great. Thanks for the good time, but this just isn't gonna work. And maybe that needs to happen again right now. I don't know.
No, it's so true though. And Kevin, I think, makes this point as well, where he says, people forget that Bionicle helped save the Lego company. It was wildly successful. It lasted for 11 years. And I agree. I don't dispute any of that. And that's why I'm always like, why do you complain so much? So why is the fan base like so awful to have a conversation with so much of the time when you had 11 years and it saved the company? Like, be happy. Like you had this.
You just said the Bionicle fan base is so awful to talk. John, I love you so much. I love you so much. Oh my God. And listen, I'm not saying I agree. I've had plenty of Bionicle discussions that aren't toxic. This isn't a dig at the Bionicle community at all, and not even a little bit. But if they're not going to come out with if they came out with one $20 set, Bionicle fans want the system to come back. You're not going to be satisfied. So it's just not. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. It's just not. Like, you can't.
Kevin says Joshua's drinking at every point.
Here we go. Here we go. That's it.
If you want to know the real truth, it's just because I've been holding it in for so long, and this was just the opportunity, and I couldn't take it any longer. That's the real truth.
That's fair.
So I don't blame people for wanting this to come back. Okay, like I really don't. truth be told, that one good date that you had with Glenda, I'm sure went well. And maybe after a few years, you think, maybe I'll call her again and see what she's doing. But then you find out Glenda lives in a trailer. Not that there's anything wrong with living in a trailer. Has 3 kids and is surrounded by cats and has like 3 ex-boyfriends in a truck, and she's waiting for that insurance check to come on through.
Jeff,
I'm just saying.
you just hit all the nerves. You just described like 3 of my friends from childhood. You really just did. It's incredible.
There's nothing wrong with cats either.
No, cats are fine.
Yeah.
Cat. You got to meow it out, man.
You got to meow it out. That's right.
So I get real quick. Building Spring Lantern Festival, destroying Bionicle hopes and dreams. Great show. All that and more on the Quarantine Cast. Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern.
I'm sorry. I'm probably never going to come back on this.
No, you are. Listen, this is exactly why I wanted you on here. So
it's just so. All right. Here's the stupidest thing ever. Okay.
Here we go.
So, as a mock builder, I build mocks from time to time.
Hold on. Wait, real quick, Jeff. I'm sorry. Brickstar is here. We eliminated Trains first. I'm sorry, man.
Trains got out of here as soon as we could.
Somewhere behind the red.
It derailed.
It's Brickstar. It's somewhere in here, man. It's right.
It's one right there. Yeah.
That was the first one to go, man. I'm sorry.
Brian was just
Sorry,
like, you know what? Nope, Trains, that's not happening. Sorry, Brickstar. And you weren't even here.
That's literally rewind the tape. I'm sorry.
That's exactly how it happened. He was just like, nope, that's not happening. Sorry, Brickstar.
It was that instant replay of crushing dreams. Fantastic. So like as much as I'm, this is gonna sound so hypocritical. As much as I love nostalgia factor and things like that, I mean, for God's sakes, I've got 1980s action figures on my wall, and I've got Hot Wheels from the last 20 years. I don't care about older Lego sets as much as the next guy will. And there's some people that are older or younger than me that are like, I want to relive those glory days of whatever X theme, okay? And I get it, and I understand it, and I'm like, okay. But if you want those themes and if you want those things, then just look it up and build it.
Right.
Like, we have an interchangeable block system for a reason. Lego's the largest tire manufacturer in the world for a reason. You can do all those things. You can build those things, and then you have those things, and then you go, I have this Galaxy Explorer now. There's Bricklink. There's all of these things that you can do to get the parts, to get the pieces, to build your inspiration of what you think a new X, Y, or Z will look like. I mean, for gosh sakes, there's Neo Classic Space. There's Neo Blacktron. There's Neo this. Neo. It's new. It's Neo Adventurers. It's whatever. And like,
the thing is,
I get it. I totally get it. It's not for me.
I want to see 5 Lego sets come out for the 90th anniversary that have the same level of detail and consideration that Pirates of Barracuda Bay got, where there's new parts, it's bigger, it's shinier, it is relevant not only to the older fans, but also to newer markets as well. Why you could do that if we go back to the main page here. You could do that for every single one of these, and I think they would sell in some capacity. Maybe you combine Adventurers and Studio in some way, combine these two, but like, Classic Space, Blacktron, Castle, Robin Hood. You have those 4 sets, bam, you're good.
Here's what I would do if I were a marketing guy from Lego. Okay, here's what I would do. Every year, I would pick a theme, get out my darts, throw it at the wall, and go, we're going to rebuild this.
Jeff, every year for 10 years between now and 2031.
Right. Give us that 100-year whatever. Okay.
Big set.
And then like, hey, here's a $300 space set. Here's a $300 castle set. Here's a $300 adventure set.
You know what?
$300 Beyond Bionicle set.
At the rate that Lego is coming out with these ridiculously massive sets right now, they did it for Ninjago. They're going to do it for this 90th anniversary thing. Barracuda Bay could have been for 2020, right? Once a year for 10 years.
Let's keep it going. No, that would be amazing. Yeah, if we could get
they did it twice for
large sets of that quality.
That's gonna fall. But I mean, they did it twice for 2020.
And that's a great set too. I haven't built that yet.
I get it. Like, I love it. It's everything in the world, but like, I'm not saying that I hate Lego themes. I'm not saying any of that. So if you want to take that out of context, that's on you, not Jeff. What I'm saying is that the past is golden because we choose to let it be golden. We don't choose because, like, when we followed those instructions back in the day, it wasn't as easy as it was today, okay? And there's nothing wrong with the instructions of today or yesteryear or whatever. But if Lego really wanted to cash in on this nostalgia thing, once a year, boom, big bad set from a popular theme and go from there. And I understand the need of wanting space. I'm so sick of Star Wars, I could care. I don't care about it anymore. Like, it's almost ruined my love for Star Wars with the fact that you have to spend all this money. You have to spend all this to get, a UCS set of a Millennium Falcon. Who cares? I mean, there's going to be people that do it. There's going to be people that go out and look for the 501st Battle Pack so they can build their army and then have a bunch of speeders and walkers left over. It's just going to be one of those things that's always going to happen. And I get it. That's not my mindset. That's never going to be my mindset of buy multiples of this set so that I can do this, or buy. Yeah, it's just consumerism as a whole is a problem. That's it. No more ranting. I'm sorry.
You're good.
I didn't need to.
So
I love the combining studios, adventures, documentary film crew idea we hit on. I think that's the number one thing I want to see come out of this. I don't know how, but that would be about a dream theme for me right there.
I would love it.
Remind me of the Indiana Jones ride at Disneyland when you've got like the film going through, like, oh, India and I found this, and it's like a documentary of how they found the tent. That'd be awesome for adventurers. Like, they usually had a camera with them, so like. One of the guys is like, well, here we are with Johnny Thunder as we're going through this Pharaoh's. That'd be cool. That'd be awesome. So you should build a mock of that.
Yeah, and Isabel is backing me up with a set counting down to the 100th anniversary is actually a brilliant idea. I know, I'm just so smart, right? It's actually incredible. She also says, come for the Spring Lantern Festival, leave because of the Bionicle, and then come back for the psychological deep dive. Welcome to Beyond the Brick.
Yes. We give it all here. That's our goal with these streams.
All of the good, all of the bad, and all of the spice.
You don't have to agree. It's just we put it out there for you.
But we can all agree that Bionicle is not becoming the 90th set. Not.
I think we can agree on that.
Yeah.
I'm never ever going to tell somebody they're an idiot for liking what they like. I want to make that perfectly clear.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's Bionicle.
So, my official vote to capstone that is going to be for Adventurers, Blacktron, and whatever that middle castle is at the bottom.
Okay.
That's what I would say it would be. And I can literally see it. I can see it more vividly than I can see the UCS Peaches Castle, seeing a 90th anniversary branded adventurer set with a small film crew-esque thing reminiscent of Studio in a nice big $200 set with 2,763 pieces. I can just see it.
I'd go for that in a heartbeat if I'm being honest.
Laying out my dreams right there, Brian.
Yep. I see it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, no, this has been a great stream working through this. Thanks for putting the graphic together. Your artwork was impeccable, Brian.
Hey, thanks,
has been
man.
good to work through some things here.
So my official pick will be this right here. And I think everyone can agree, like, Adventurers, it has so much going on with it one way or another. But I really do think let's go with Blacktron. If that was the space set, let's go with that and give us a $300, $400 castle. I think those three you could whittle down to be like the ultimate 3 Lego sets right there.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't want to, but I agree with you.
But I still like the color scheme of Classic Space being trans yellow, blue, gray. But I think Blacktron is more iconic.
yeah, we haven't gotten. I mean, we've gotten the classic space stuff from Lego Movie and everything. I think it'd be cool to get something in different colors, a theme that is still much loved by a lot of people. Blacktron, I think, has a lot of potential.